I heard that you've been going around telling people that we're not in harmony in our relationship. Ethan took me hostage at the corner of the stairs and held me in his arms, looking down at me with a chill in his eyes, pretended to be calm, but I stammered. I didn't. Ethan's gaze was cold. You have to pay for lying. I didn't believe him and I went against him in every way, and then I cried and begged for forgiveness. I was wrong, okay? It's late, roses. We've romantic dreams. Chase to see roses. Romantic meaning endless, all the way to the romantic endless. Be sure to like, comment, retweet, follow, open the little bell. Beautiful drama on time to embrace. 6 months after Ethan and I separated, he finally signed the divorce papers. Ethan's words, Olivia, you think about it, sign this divorce papers. We will not owe each other. I will not do simp. Of course, that's what I want. It's best to never get involved again. Why, money grubbing bestie Emma was more upset than I was when she found out about my divorced. Olivia, are you nuts? You're giving up Ethan is the same as giving up a mountain of gold. I breathed a long sigh of relief. Emma, I'm not you. I don't love money. Why did you get a divorce when you were fine? It's nothing. He's just not good enough. Emma choked for a moment, and then showed a look of regret. No wonder God is fair after all. You said Ethan is handsome and rich. It's a pity. Waved my hand. Things have already passed. Since I'm divorced, let's move on with everything. After divorcing Ethan, I didn't want anything. He was cold and drew up the asset division and gave me the downtown condo. Olivia, how much do you dislike me? I can't be that cruel. You don't have to take the money, but you do have to have a place to live. You don't have to take the money, but you do have to have a place to live. If you don't feel comfortable with it, you can have the locks changed. Ethan is always so tough. Exterior, soft heart, so soft-hearted that it hurts. I took the key he gave me, opened the door, and stepped into the house that holds countless sweet memories for us. This suite is the first suite Ethan bought. At that time we often nest in the sofa together to catch up on TV shows, chatting together. It was an important time for him to start his own business, and he was often so busy that he didn't come home in the middle of the night, so I always sat on the couch and waited until I fell asleep. The first thing he did when he came back was to carry me into his room, and then chided me in a low voice. Sticky monster, you can't wait any longer. Week after week, in this house he took the company to the public market. And I became a rich and lucky socialite in everyone's eyes. The day the company went public, he excitedly shoved a key into my hand. Orange, I promised you a cozy and comfortable home, and I did. It was his newly bought suburban mansion. A big house of several hundred square feet, with a game room, swimming pool, and everything. Emma was so envious that she screamed all night and brought her friends to party for 3 days and nights in the suburban mansion. When I think about it, it seems that I am a little bit unaware of my own faults. Suddenly the phone rang, and as I watched Ethan's name light up on the screen, I clicked on it. You went back. His voice was still so magnetic, like an electric wave going straight to my heart. It's late. Why don't you make some food? Remembered that I had surveillance in the house, so he probably saw me sitting on the couch for a long time. I am not hungry yet. What about you? Have you eaten yet? I haven't. The house is empty. I can't eat. Go out more and turn around will be good. The phone was silent for a few seconds. He sighed. Together for so many years, how can you be like nothing? I looked at the group photo on the wall, and for a moment I felt my nose sour, but thinking that he could see my every move at the moment, I could only hold back my tears. Okay, we're all adults now. When it's time to break it off, it's time to break it off. I hung up the phone, and my heart felt like it had cracked open a huge hole. In terms of toughness, no one can compare to me. I took down all the cameras in the house, as well as all those photos full of memories, and sealed them in the bottom of the box. Finally, I changed the locks on the front door, so that I could really say goodbye to the past. After I left Ethan, I really fell into the mortal world and felt the suffering of the people. The work is still 9-to-5 grind, and the overtime pay, which was not important to me in the past, is so valuable now. Over time, I also became the group of people in the company who stayed up late and worked overtime, and my colleagues ate takeout and worked hard to move bricks. First, my coworkers were a bit strange. Olivia, why aren't you off work yet? Yeah, you're a socialite and you're still earning overtime with us. Why haven't you seen your husband picking you up lately? I just smiled at these questions that I didn't want to answer, and after a long time, they stopped asking. After all, we all have our own business, and it's an adult's tacit understanding not to talk about it. Olivia, remember to turn off the lights when you leave. I'll go first. Okay, be careful on your way. When the last colleague said goodbye to me, I realized that I was the only one left in the big company. For the end of the year performance appraisal, I had to spend 3 days to finish the program in advance of The original 1-week period. So that in the year-end summary, you can rate a little more points. Year-end bonus accordingly will be a little more. I'm actually not too reluctant to work hard to make money like this. It is always difficult to get a taxi after the night shift. The neighborhood is full of large factories with inward rolls, and there are especially many people leaving work in the early hours of the morning. What's going on? It's a tweet from Ethan. I cover my scarf tightly and use my frozen fingertips to message him back. Just got out of the shower and ready for bed. Lying bastard, standing in the cold wind. My heart was startled and I hurriedly looked around when I suddenly saw the familiar big black Jeep parked at the corner. Why is this guy doing another surprise attack? My heart pounded as I watched the car drive towards me. The window was rolled down, revealing a handsome, angular face with an unreadable expression of joy and happiness. Get in the car, I'll give you a ride home. Don't refuse. I don't mean anything by it. I just happened to be passing by. Good guy. Is it a roundworm in my stomach? You've finished your sentence. I pulled open the passenger door and got in. Everything in the car was so familiar, yet something seemed to be missing. Ethan was the first to break the silence. Why are you getting off work so late? More things to do. The car was quiet for a while, and then there was a red light. Ethan looked out the window and asked me, pretending not to notice, do you have enough money? Yes, and that was it. No more words. He drove quietly and dropped me off downstairs. I'll drive you up. Don't say no. There'll be perverts in the elevator, too. Unfortunately, the elevator was being serviced and the maintenance man looked at us with an apologetic face. I'm sorry. Considering the traveling habits of the owners, I specially picked the middle of the night to come for maintenance, but I didn't expect that it would still cause you inconvenience. I quickly waved my hand. It's fine. Well, just take the stairs. It's so late. It's hard for you. It's not easy for all of us. I looked up at Ethan climbing the 21st floor. You don't have to see me off. I'll have to run down in a while. It's okay, Ethan said and walked straight ahead. I can't sleep if I don't use up my energy in the middle of the night. Listening to his voice, I couldn't help but feel my face burning with shame. After climbing a dozen or so floors behind him, the only sound left in the hallway was my panting. Ethan glanced at me in disgust, backed up and took my hand, yanking it forward. Used to tell you to exercise more, but you were too lazy to move. It's good that you move. Just after I said that, I blushed and looked at him at a bit of a loss for words, whether it was inappropriate to joke about it at this point in time. Ethan held me in his arms at the corner of the stairs, looking down at me with a cold gaze. Heard that you've been going around telling people that we're not getting along. I feigned calmness, but stammered. Where did I? Why, hypocrite, after so many years of marriage. Stand in front of my house and turned to Ethan. Him home. Thanks for tonight. He didn't answer, looking at the newly changed locks with cold eyes. How long has it been since we got divorced and you changed the locks? Didn't you say you could change them? I didn't want to argue with him, turned around and opened the door. It's more convenient. It's late. You go home first. Be careful on your way. He propped the door open and ignored my objections, took off his shoes and headed for home. Ethan, what are you doing? I need to borrow a restroom. Stood helplessly, setting his shoes right. This guy was usually mature and stable, but sometimes he was like a child. I lay back on the couch while my ears listened to every move in the restroom, and when I heard the toilet pumping, I hurriedly stood up. Then I heard the water heater hit and the shower come out. My heart tightened and I ran to tap on the door. Ethan, what are you doing in there? Taking a shower. I said I was going to the bathroom. Why did I start taking a shower? I continued to tap on the door. Stop it, get out of there. The door was suddenly pulled inward. I was unsteady and fell forward. Ethan then caught me. I clutched onto his slippery arm and nearly slipped again. Such a monkey. Ethan laughed softly as he helped me up, my eyes darting wildly. Why are you showering in my house? I've seen this tantalizing body countless times, and I still can't help but blush and my mouth is dry at the moment. As an ex-wife, can you have a bit of conscience? I am kind enough to send you home. Climbing the stairs, I won't say anything if I still have to walk down the stairs and drive more than 10 kilometers back to suburban mansion, plus the time to take a shower. Then do I still want to sleep tonight? Without waiting for me to say anything, he added, I have a meeting early in the morning and I need to go to bed early. Good guy. Completely do not give me the opportunity to refute. Dare to think that if I do not let him sleep here, it will become a 10 evil poisonous woman. I tidied up the study and Ethan stood by the door watching me. You know, I never sleep in the den. Yes. How many times over the years of our marriage has he woken me up by getting under my covers no matter how late he came home? I didn't turn around at study or couch either way. Ethan wiped his hair with my towel as he headed towards the living room. Don't get busy. I'll just deal with the couch for the night. Go wash up and go to bed. The familiar smell filled the bathroom again and I breathed in greedily, letting the water run over the surface of my skin. He avoided him for the past 6 months, not showing up until Head agreed to divorce me, and it had been a long time since I'd been under the same roof as I was tonight. When I came out of the shower, Ethan was already asleep on the couch. I squatted down in front of the couch and couldn't help but lightly touch the high bridge of his nose with my fingertips, finally following the contour of his nose to rest on his lips. If you don't want to sleep, you'll be happy to toss and turn all night with you. I retracted my hand in fear, and he opened his eyes languidly, his gaze sweeping over my towel-wrapped chest and resting on my face. My face must have flushed red because the next second I felt my cheeks burning as I stood up and tossed him the blanket from the recliner. Was just afraid you'd be cold and brought you the blanket. Fake sympathy, aren't you warmer under the covers? Ethan leaned back lazily on the couch, wrapping the blanket around himself in a burrito. I never beat him in terms of fighting. Didn't sleep too soundly that night, being woken up several times in my sleep. When I got up, I saw him leaning on the balcony smoking a cigarette, and his back was so lonely. For a moment, I had the urge to run over and hug him, but I knew I couldn't. Maybe he heard my movement. He turned around to see me and put out his cigarette. "Why are you awake so early? I have to go to work too," I said and headed for the kitchen. "Do you want to join us for breakfast?" "Sure." Didn't feel embarrassed at all, and responded so naturally, as if I were an old married couple with many years of marriage under my belt. But to be honest, putting aside the divorce layer, aren't we just an old married couple? Put a handful of bok choy on the noodles, and fry 2 eggs. It is a simple bowl of egg and vegetarian noodles, his former favorite. He leaned against the kitchen door. The corner of his mouth is a gentle smile. "It's been a long time since I ate the noodles you cooked, so nostalgic." Brought a full bowl of noodles to him. "Then you eat more. Can I still come to you if I want to eat in the future?" His eyes were gentle, but a bit pleading, and I went soft. "Man, I can only keep sending the noodles to my mouth," digressing. "If you don't eat, it will get cold." He lowered his head grimly and huffed and puffed a few times, drying up all the noodles, not even the soup. "The flavor hasn't changed." He glanced at his watch and said, "It's getting late, I'll leave now." I nodded my head and didn't look up at him as I continued to pick up my bowl of noodles. Ethan got dressed and put a card on the table. "Anyway, buy a thicker down jacket, it's getting cold. I have money. Keep it, make yourself generous. Don't reject me. It would be hard for me to see you having a bad time." Listening to the sound of him opening the door, the sound of his footsteps disappearing outside the door, I just couldn't hold back any longer, covering my face, whimpering out. It was a rare weekend and I had planned to lay around the house, but Emma kicked her way into my house first thing in the morning, pulling all the curtains back and yanking me up, still under the covers. I yawned, not interested in the slightest. In fact, I know her good intentions. See, I just divorced, perhaps still immersed in the pain, so I took me out to see more new people, so that I do not touch the scene of sadness. After dragging herself through the wash and changing into a cozy hoodie, Emma had already rolled her eyes a million times. "Will you lose those hoodies of yours? I've put up with you for a long time, and those plain as hell shirts of yours, I'm sick of seeing them." She pulled open her closet and frowned as she looked at the few pieces of clothing I had. "You divorced Ethan and this is all the clothes you brought back? What happened to all the big name brand stuff he bought you before?" "It's a small closet, I can't fit that many, and I don't really have an occasion to wear them." Emma held her forehead and said, "Are you stupid? If you don't want to wear them, you can sell them in the second-hand market, and you'll get a lot of money if you sell them at a discounted price." "Forget it, I'm too lazy." "I'm really convinced. Let's go buy some clothes together." "How can you go out with these clothes?" When Emma came to the mall to buy clothes, I remembered that the last time I came to buy clothes, Ethan accompanied me. On the sofa in the specialty store, there are always scattered men who come to accompany their wives to go shopping. All of them, without exception, had a look of indifference or impatience on their faces. Only Ethan, after wandering around the store, shoved the clothes he had picked out into my hands. "Try it on." After pushing me into the fitting room, he waited outside the door. When I went out, he turned me around and helped me pick out a dress, which was very serious and cute. "What are you thinking? Try this one on." You pushed me and shoved a short dress into my hands, a type I'd never challenged before, a small black halter with a corseted waist. "It's cute yet sexy." T didn't look too bad, except would it be a little cold to wear on this day? I glanced at the down jacket next to it and thought about Ethan bugging me to buy one. He's always worried about whether I'm warm or not, whether my clothes fit well or not, and all those clothes that only need to be windy but not warm are all vetoed by him. You directly pulled me over. "So bloated down coat, you do not look." You wear this short skirt inside, accessories long coat, as warm. The important thing is good looking. After buying the clothes, you directly let me wear. Said in the bar about some new friends. The noisy environment of the bar gave me a headache. I was dragged by Yu, squeezing through the crowd to go inside. When I got to the reserved booth, there was a circle of surprisingly handsome guys sitting there. And I froze in place. You gave them a look, and all the boys stood up and smiled at me in unison. Hello sister, I was dumbfounded. You smiled, and pulled me to sit down. Don't just stand there, sit down. Taking the opportunity to sit down, she whispered in my ear, so many handsome men accompany you. Are you still satisfied? Is Emma crazy? I was in a hurry to stand up, but she held me down. Gnashing her teeth in my ear, she said, you have to have fun when you come out to play. Relax, you are divorced. Sister, have a snack first to pad your stomach. I looked to the boy who handed me the snack, bone-clear white fingers, face overflowing with an impeccable smile. The dimples on the left side of his face just right to set off his youthful breath. Good, thanks. I took a bite of the snowflake pastry, and the other boy next to me started toasting me. Sister, isn't it a bit dry to just eat snacks? Have some wine. The dimpled boy poured me a glass of orange juice. Sister, drinking hurts your body. Sister, this wine tastes similar to fruit juice and is not too strong. Nice guys, are they under performance pressure? I gulped. It's not easy for everyone to come out to work. I put down the snowflake pastry, took a sip of the cocktail, and then took a sip of the orange juice. This way, it's kind of raining on the parade, isn't it? Dimple boy couldn't he help but snort a smile. A sister is the most interesting I have ever seen. What is sister's name? I am called Liam. Olivia. Good name, sis. You know, my favorite fruit is orange. Smiled awkwardly and looked towards Emma. The woman was already hitting it off with a couple of dudes, playing games, and having a good time. Seeing my pleading expression, Emma waved at me. Orange, let's play games together. Without waiting for me to respond, you pulled me along and started shaking the dice. Drink if you lose, ha. I held the glass and drank it all in one go. Liam grabbed my hand. Sister, don't drink. After a few glasses of wine, I looked at the handsome face in front of me in a trance, and snorted. Who are you? You care about me? Seeing me staggering, Liam then came over to help me. Sister, are you drunk? Let me help you to rest. No, I pushed him away and pointed at him. I'm warning you, don't make a move on me. Ethan won't agree. Liam froze. Sister, I really like you. I smiled and shook my head. Young people nowadays, is it so easy to like someone? With a burst of rowdy music, Emma, like a chicken blood, hurriedly pulled me to stand up. The midnight show has started. Go grab a seat on the dance floor. Dizzy, I was dragged by her and danced around the dance floor. Out of nowhere, I caught a glimpse of a frowning black-faced man. Oh no, I've sobered up big time. Ethan cuts through the crowd, coming toward me, and my first thought is run. Nay, turned and bumped into Liam, who pulled me sideways and shielded me in his arms. Watch out sis, it's over. I was yanked backward and fell into Ethan's arms. He had a cold face. Olivia, do you have any idea what you're doing? Ethan, you stammered, standing still. You, what are you doing here? Ethan pulled me through the crowd, and in my line of sight. He stubbornly didn't turn around. The strength of his hand tugging at me hurt. You looks like a child who's done something wrong. Following closely behind, standing in the doorway of the bar, stupidly poised, Emma. How many times have I told you not to bring Olivia to a place like this? When Ethan launched his temper, it was still quite scary. You was not afraid of the sky or the earth, but he was afraid of him losing his temper. You was also enraged. You guys aren't divorced. What do you care how we play? Good job, you. Sometimes I really admire your courage, but I saw Ethan's face, because of your words, became more stinky. I quickly rounded up. Ethan, actually it's me who wants to come. You shut up. I immediately silenced my voice. God knows Ethan has never been this mean to me before. Ethan, if you can't give Olivia happiness, you shouldn't be so bossy. Oh my God, you. I know you're fighting for me, but let's not add more fuel to the fire right now. Ethan laughed coldly and looked at you. If I can't give her happiness, who can? Anticipating that Yu was about to blurt out those rumors, I hurriedly covered her mouth. Forget it, Yu. Ethan tugged me over and shoved me into the car, then turned back to you. I'll drop you off on my way back. It's not safe for you to be alone in the middle of the night. Yu's face eased up quite a bit and she got in the car and started blathering again. Ethan, I said you are quite good. How to? Hey, forget it. You are not easy. Ethan looked at me sideways. I quickly bowed my head. Emma, you shut up. After sending Yu home, I sat in the car and didn't dare to get out of the atmosphere. Ethan drove the car without saying a word. As I watched the car heading towards the suburban mansion, my heart tightened. Where are we going? Home. I wanted to refuse, but when I saw Ethan's look of wanting to eat someone, I could only choose to shut up. The car stopped at the garage and Ethan got out and pulled open the passenger door, yanking me out and heading for home without saying a word. This is my former home. Nothing has changed, even the ugly cactus garden I planted in the yard is still there. Well, the entry carpet is still the Winnie the Pooh set I bought. He once said it was childish, so why haven't you changed it? And my slippers are still neatly in place. Ethan changes his shoes and walks into the house, rips off his tie, drops his suit on the couch and looks back at me. Come in. Walked over. Dumbly, like a child who has done something wrong, not daring to take a breath. What are you wearing on such a cold day? His eyes landed on me. Underneath the long tweed coat was a super short skirt with a pair of black leggings that Emma had dragged me into. It's a bit cold really, to be honest, but at the moment I'm more interested in giving myself a break. Have the freedom to dress right. Why are you being so bossy? Don't you know you're weak? You'll have your period in 3 days. Do you still want to roll around in bed with a stomach ache? I really couldn't refute. I could only mutter in a low voice, who wants you to care? Meeting his cold eyes, alarm bells went off in my mind. The next second Ethan picked me up by the waist and threw me into the sofa. Before I could react, my lips were devoured by his hot kisses, nibbling, so domineering that I couldn't breathe. I struggled and pushed him away. You're crazy. I am crazy. The emotion in Ethan's eyes wasn't sure if it was sadness or hatred. When Ryan sent me that picture of you at the bar surrounded by a bunch of guys, I went fucking crazy. I'm sorry, I didn't. I wanted to explain to him. I couldn't look at him with a pained face, but I held back the words in my heart and forced a smile to look up at him. Ethan, we're divorced. Can't believe you don't feel anything for me anymore. He grips his hair helplessly and comes over to hug me with red eyes. Don't love you anymore, Ethan. It's over. Didn't realize that watching him say those words would tear my heart out. The light in his eyes darkened and my heart fell to the bottom. Was silent for a long time, then slowly spoke. You've had too much to drink. Go to bed early. When I took a shower to get my clothes, I opened the closet and realized that everything was the same, and why clothes were placed as they were spotless, was still our wedding room. That big bed had countless beautiful memories of us. I greedily sniffed his scent on the pillow and fell asleep. Left at dawn, afraid that meeting with him would seem awkward. After all, last night was not very decent for either of us. Sitting on the bus by the window seat, open the phone, which shows a dozen missed calls. All my father called. Also sent a few messages on WeChat. Daughter, I heard from the nanny that you moved to a house in the city center. Did you and Ethan have a fight? Why don't you answer your phone? What do you mean? Don't you want to pay your living expenses? My heart got irritated for no reason, and I pushed the phone down, choosing to ignore it, but I was wrong. There are times when choosing to ignore is useless. When I got home and saw my dad sitting in front of the house, I felt like I was going to break down. Seeing me, he hurriedly stood up with a smile on his face. Where were you last night? And he didn't answer his phone when he called you. I took a deep breath and pulled out my keys to open the door. Why are you here again? I am here to ask for my living expenses. He followed me into the house and walked inside with his shoes on. Change your shoes. I handed him my shoes. He laughed disdainfully and put on his shoes. Poor man. What? You've married a golden son-in-law and you've forgotten where you come from? I took a deep breath and tried to restrain myself. They'll call you in a couple of days for the money. You don't have any money. If you don't have money, ask Ethan. He's so rich. Don't mention Ethan to me. I lost control. I couldn't stop myself from shaking, and my tears instantly came out of my eyes. Why, it's only right for a son-in-law to honor his father-in-law. Seeing me lose control like this, he was not surprised at all, sitting on the sofa lightly and picking up an apple to munch on. Ethan and I are divorced. Divorced. You can't be lying to me, right? That kid loves you so much. Do you think I can't see that? I felt like I was on the verge of a breakdown and rushed into the room to take out the divorce papers and slammed them in front of him. The divorce papers are already here. For a bottomless pit like you, even the love is exhausted. Why? Dad froze, put down his half-bitten apple, picked up the divorce papers and flipped them open, then stood up and kicked at me. What a sin. My thighs ached from the kick, and I yelled at him, can't you stop gambling? My dad was a hopeless gambler, something Ethan knew before we got married. Ethan knew that my dad was a loved but hated person to me. When I was 7 years old, my dad gave me a bone marrow transplant when I had leukemia. And he sold the only house in the family, so no matter how much of an asshole he was, he gave me life twice, once to give birth to me and once to save me. Even after he got into gambling and changed his temperament, I couldn't cut my ties with him. I couldn't do it. I rejected Ethan many times, but he still chose me without the slightest hesitation. But I didn't realize that my selfishness had pulled him off the deep end, and my dad simply couldn't change. Ethan is another responsible person who is particularly indifferent to money. He thinks he can use money to make family harmony. That is much better than making a mess. Instead, he often reassured me, it's okay, money can be earned again, but your dad is the only one, but my father's gambling is a bottomless pit. When I got married, all the dowry Ethan gave me went into my father's pocket. Wasn't satisfied yet. He came to me 3 times to ask for money. The last straw that broke the camel's back was when he asked me for $5 million, and after I refused, he yelled that he wanted to go to Ethan's company to look for someone to at that time. My broken heart had only one thought, that is divorce. I've been with Ethan for so many days and nights, and I know how hard it is for him to be where he is today, so I can't bear to see him do it. I couldn't bear to see the wealth he had built up being used in such a useless way, and I didn't want him to be ruined by my father. Just thinking about it makes my heart ache. Only by cutting my ties with him would my dad stop saying Ethan is so rich. It's only right that he honors me. I married my baby girl to him. I am tired. Every time I hear that, I just want to hit the wall. I have a support obligation to my dad. After the divorce, Ethan has no support obligation to my dad. For a gambler like my dad, the only way to really wake up is to let him know that there's no turning back, that no one will help him, and that he's suffered enough to really come to his senses. Instead of both of us being emptied out, he should be free to move forward boldly. You divorced him and didn't get any money? I glanced at my dad and knew what he was up to, so I quickly said, no, this house is also in Ethan's name. It's just for me to live in. For pity's sake, you don't want to sell it. My father was so angry that he pointed at me. How did I raise such a useless daughter? He slept with me for so many years for nothing, and you didn't get anything out of it, Ian Jong. I threw the dishes into the sink, shaking with anger. Have you said enough? If it wasn't for you, could I have divorced him? How dare you call me by my first name? I'll beat you to death today, he said and took off his slippers and walked towards me. I've been used to him like this since I was a kid. I just stood still and didn't hide. You hit me, better beat me to death, then I'll be relieved. He froze in place, gasping for breath as he looked at me. The frown on his face that was similar to mine made me feel instantly humiliated at the moment. Ding-dong, the doorbell rang and I adjusted my breath and walked to the door. T was Ethan and my heart fluttered. What are you doing here? Why did you leave without a word in the morning? I passed by the supermarket and saw that your favorite strawberries were just on sale, so I bought some to bring you. I looked at his hands to carry a few big bags of strawberries. No sour, you go, don't send in the future. But it was already too late. Oh, it's Ethan. Why are you standing outside? Come on in, Dad. When Ethan saw my dad, he was obviously stunned. Dad, Ethan still has business at the company. Don't delay his work. I pushed Ethan towards the door. Hurry up. I don't have anything to do today. I came to see you. My dad smiled fawningly and pulled Ethan through the door. You two kids, why did you get divorced when you had nothing to do with it? I know you still have Olivia in your heart, Ethan. There are still some bean curd in the refrigerator. You helped me choose it. Now I find it hard to let my dad spend even a second with Ethan, who has always been mouthy, and Ethan has never hidden his feelings for me. That's the case. My decision doesn't make any sense. Ethan nodded and followed me into the kitchen with the string beans, dutifully choosing them next to me. I asked, this okay? He showed me 2 sections of the beanstalks, like a child taking credit. Yes, as you wish. He smiled lightly and continued choosing. Ryan gave me 2 tickets to the concert. No go. Without waiting for him to finish, I bluntly rejected him, and the movement under his hand was stuttered, then continued. I remember you used to love listening. Don't like it now. Who's to say I'll always like it? I can promise. Ethan grabbed my hand and looked at me condescendingly. Do you dare to look me in the eye? I don't believe you don't have me in your heart. I forced myself to look him straight in the eyes. Believe it or not, I just hope you're not fooling yourself. I shook off his hand and took the food out. The meal tasted as if I was chewing wax as my dad stared at Ethan and kept giving him food. Ethan, how's the company doing? Is it okay? Not bad, everything's fine. Only, it's not easy for your company to make it despite the seriousness of the epidemic. How much dividends will you get at the end of the year? Dad, I put down my chopsticks. Can you stop asking? What does it have to do with you? My dad was so angry that he pointed his chopsticks at me. When is it your turn to control my old man? Dad. Ethan pulled him back and quickly winked at me. We're done eating. Put the chopsticks away. I held my breath and put the dishes away in the kitchen, but the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. After washing the dishes, my dad was smiling from ear to ear. I thought you were the son-in-law of my life. I sighed and Ethan's phone rang. Perhaps it was someone from the company. After he answered the phone, he looked at me with an apologetic face. Something happened at the company. I have to go over there. Sorry. I'll see you again when I have time. It's okay. Don't come if you're not okay from now on. Ethan looked down at me and sighed. just about to say something when the elevator came. Go on, don't be late. The elevator doors closed slowly and I didn't dare to look him in the eye, rushing back into the house. Why Dad was lying on the couch watching TV. The melon rind he ate was thrown all over the floor. My brain suddenly throbbed. Taking the vacuum cleaner over, I saw the bank card on the desktop and tightened my heart. You asked Ethan for money? My dad glanced at me. What's the fuss about a son-in-law honoring his old man? And my chest continued to rise and fall, feeling like I was about to lose my breath. Are you going to give up only when I'm dead? My dad left after taking the money Ethan gave him, not knowing how much Ethan had given him or when he'd finished squandering it, and came back to roam around the house. Emma saw that I was not looking well these days and dragged me out for a walk and a little snack at the same cafe I used to frequent. Didn't want to leave my work behind either, and brought my laptop with me to work while I ate. You ask me, why are you becoming more and more desperate to work? It's not easy to come out for a walk on a big weekend. I looked at the computer screen. Back to her. I'm not like you've paid to anchor, live broadcast a pot of money. Che, let you live with me to sell goods, and you cannot let go. I was just about to say something when Yu's cell phone rang. She made a shushing gesture towards me. Hello, it's you. What's up? Okay, you do it. You hung up the phone and smiled meaningfully. You can do it. You're divorced, but your charm hasn't diminished. I looked at her skeptically. I looked at her suspiciously. It's nothing, you'll know in a moment. Didn't have time to talk to her. I was in a hurry to return emails to my clients, so I didn't ask any further questions. It wasn't long before I looked up and caught a glimpse of a smiling, handsome face as I stretched comfortably after my work assist. I hurriedly shut my yawning, open mouth. What are you doing here? After I said that, I gave Emma a blank look. She was looking at me with an expression of amusement on her face. Sister still remembers me. Liam smiled and took a seat next to me, not avoiding staring straight at me. Kicked Emma under the table and the woman let out an ouch. Why are you kicking me? I'm really convinced that I'm often on my own when it comes to these girlfriends. Liam snorted with laughter and came over to look at my computer screen. Is your sister working? I smiled awkwardly and closed my laptop. What did you want to see me about? Nothing much, just wanted to ask my sister to go bouncing with me. Thinking of Ethan's black face, I refused. No, I'm not used to that kind of occasion. What do you like to do? Emma couldn't hold it in any longer and said with a smile, Liam, forget it. Your sister Orange just got divorced. She doesn't want to fall in love. Good for you, Emma. Finally willing to come out and say something for me. I know, I can wait. Liam smiled at me, revealing his white baby teeth, and the dimples on his cheeks were very pretty. Seeing that I was silent, Liam handed over his cell phone. Can I add a WeChat? I waved my hand. No need. I usually don't use WeChat much. Sister, don't worry. I usually won't bother you. I just want to make a friend. Sister, don't need to have a psychological burden. I looked at his sincere gaze, staring straight at me. I have never known how to refuse. Hardened my head and took out my cell phone, exchanging WeChat. Ethan knows. Will it destroy me? I was shocked by the voice in my heart. Olivia, you have been divorced. Why are you still thinking about him? Emma rely on live broadcast in my neighborhood next door to buy a suite of rooms. This woman is also really powerful. Every day without day and night live broadcast. Froze to buy a set of dowry for themselves. Said anything to call me over to her warm room. I carry a bag on the past. Live close to each other, also have a care. After showering and lying on the bed, I turned to look at her. You say you. Why did you provoke the people? Fresh meat now. Well, how to end? Showed her my cell phone screen. Liam had just sent me a message. Sister, asleep. Emma read it and said as if nothing had happened. Just talk to him. We're all single anyway. It's not like I want you to be in a relationship with him or anything. I just want you to divert your attention. Look at how much weight you've lost since you divorced Ethan. I don't want to talk. I turned my phone off and sullenly buried my face under the covers. Hey. Seriously, Ethan is really impeccable except for that area of his life. Have you guys tried some toys or something to improve things? My face flushed and I whacked Emma. Stop talking. What's there to be ashamed of? Hey, let me touch and feel Ethan's pleasure. Ah. You rascal, it's been a rowdy night, and without you, I'm afraid I'd have trouble getting through these post-divorce days. From her house, it's only a few minutes walk to her home. Looking at Ethan standing in front of the house with a stubbled face, my heartbeat slowed down by half a beat, and before I could say anything, he opened his mouth first. Where were you last night? To warm up you's new home. Then why did you turn off your cell phone? I took out my cell phone and turned it on, and his missed calls popped up. Thinking about the reason why I turned off my phone last night, I couldn't answer for a second and fell silent. I opened the door and walked in. Ethan held it open. Aren't you going to explain? Explain what? What's our relationship? Good. Grief, the voice phone rang at that moment. I pulled out my cell phone and looked at Liam's name on the screen and sucked in a cold breath. Who's calling and why aren't you answering? Ethan, don't you? My mind was a mess and the voice call wouldn't relent. I'll answer it for you. Ethan took my cell phone and pressed the answer button, hitting the speakerphone in the process. Sis, you're finally talking to me. Do you realize that I dreamed about you all night last night? I looked at Ethan's gradually cold expression and said with trepidation, Liam, I'm sorry, I have something going on right now. Is sister busy? Why don't I bring you a boxed lunch later? I make good sushi, no need. Without waiting for me to say anything, Ethan coldly replied back to him. It's not your turn to court her, Ethan said, hanging up his voice in front of me. Liam, sister, Ethan snorted through his nose. Since when are you good at that? Ethan said, having unknowingly forced me through the door, which closed automatically behind him. Took a step closer to me, his long fingers unbuttoning the top 2 buttons of his shirt, revealing his strong pecs as he pressed me against the wall. You don't like me like this? The familiar scent of hormones pushed right into my head and my legs were already starting to go weak. Ethan, you stop this. It's you stop it, Olivia. I really can't take it. His scarlet eyes, his strong palms resting on my cheeks, his fingertips caressing the tear tracks on my cheeks, meeting up with his eyes. The next second he leans down and opens his mouth to suck on my lips, but I'm like a feather in the wind, fluttering in the air, breathless. The wall hanging fell in response to our intense movements, and the sound of that glass shattering brought me instantly to my senses. I pushed him away as hard as I could, gasping repeatedly, we shouldn't be doing this. The lust in Ethan's eyes hadn't dissipated, but he looked at me gently. Stop fooling yourself, I can feel it, you still have me in your heart. My heart panicked, all my hard work can't be undone here. Don't kid yourself, it's a natural biological reaction, not because of you. How much that hurt. A dull ache shot through my heart as I said it, and his reddened eyes appeared in my dreams countless times. At the end of the year, a lot of projects need to be wrapped up, but also become more and more busy. The number of overtime is also more and more. The good thing is that the year-end performance rating of an A can be a few more tens of thousands of dollars in bonuses, which is not ashamed of this year's efforts. 9 o'clock from work, not too late, can still catch the last bus home. The company downstairs, habitually looking at the corner of the street. What am I expecting? His car will never appear there again. It's better to let him die, then there won't be any more interaction, right, sis? Liam suddenly appears, interrupting my musings. He jogged all the way towards me. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Hey, race some milk tea for you. Warm up your hands. I don't drink milk tea. Liam froze, then scratched his head in embarrassment. Sister doesn't drink milk tea. Then what do you like to drink? He'll go buy it. Oh, Liam. I look up at him. There are some things that really can't be dragged out. Don't waste your time on me. It's not possible for the two of us. Why? Liam frowns. Because of the man who dragged you away from the bar. Before I could answer, Liam stepped forward and grabbed my shoulders, looking at me seriously. You know you've divorced him. That means you don't love him at all. He'll take care of you for the rest of your life if you want to, though. It has nothing to do with him. Even without him, I wouldn't be with you. Liam pursed his lips and froze in place. As I watched the bus arrive, I hurriedly said goodbye to him. Sorry, the bus is coming. Squeezing into the last bus, I grabbed the halter and stood shakily in the compartment. The phone was ringing at this time, and I sighed helplessly, freeing one hand to pull out my cell phone in my bag. Hello, sister-in-law, it's Ryan. Ryan was Ethan's playmate since childhood and was close, but I didn't have much contact with him. I was a little confused when he called me out of the blue. Ryan, what's wrong, sister-in-law? I took the liberty of making this call because I can't stand it any longer. Ethan is sick, and he won't go to the hospital at home, and he won't listen to anyone, so why don't you go and take a look at him? I'm begging you. Hanging up the phone, my heart felt like it had been emptied, and I hurriedly shouted at the driver, Master, I want to get off. We can't stop here now. Get off at the next stop. When I arrived at the next stop, the door opened and I rushed off. Standing in the dark few streets, I couldn't care less about my fear and started waving at the cabs coming and going back at our former home. I met Ryan in the yard, smoking a cigarette. He stubbed out his cigarette and walked toward me. Sister-in-law's here. I nodded and looked toward the house. Where is he? Just took his pills and went to sleep. Thank you. There's no need to say anything polite. Ethan and I have been friends for over 20 years. It's only right. Sister-in-law, don't blame me for talking too much. Ethan really loves you, and I don't believe you don't have feelings for him anymore. Otherwise you wouldn't have rushed over here. In that case, can't the two of you live a good life? I bit my lower lip to keep myself as decent as possible. Well, thanks for telling me that. Ryan gestured with his eyes for me to go inside. Go on. He's all yours. I held my breath and headed towards the room. Didn't realize Ethan was asleep with my Winnie the Pooh plush in his arms. Perhaps not sleeping soundly enough. His handsome eyebrows slightly furrowed. I touched his forehead and it was surprisingly hot, so how could I not go to the hospital? Maybe my movement woke him up, or maybe he wasn't sleeping deeply enough in the first place. Ethan opened his eyes, and the moment he saw me, there was a momentary surprise in his eyes, and then he arrogantly pushed me away. Who sent you? You have a high fever. You have to go to the hospital 4 and 4. You're not my wife. Who are you to tell me what to do? Ethan said and turned around, seeing Winnie the Pooh in his arms. A little embarrassed, he just threw it out. I didn't mean to hug your Winnie the Pooh plush, I just grabbed it when I was burnt out. I understand that when you're burnt out, you're not supposed to be in charge of anything. Understand that when burnt out and especially vulnerable, he wants familiar people and familiar smells around. I picked up the bear and shoved it at him. Stop being so grumpy and come with me to the hospital. Let me die of sickness at home. No one will love me anyway. He was sick, and like a child, he was trying to act like a child. Okay, I guess it's useless for me to come. I'll leave now. I pretended to walk towards the door, and sure enough, he was in a hurry. Come back here. Ethan struggled to get up, the covers slipping off of him, revealing his curvy abs, controlled my eyes from wandering, and instantly felt my mouth go dry. You are definitely the meanest ex-wife ever. Don't you have to go to the hospital? Come over here and help me get dressed. Can't you put it on yourself? I have no strength in my body. I helplessly walked over, pulled over the shirt on the bed to help him put it on, and then buttoned it up one by one. The elastic pectoral muscles and hot skin, all tempting me. If you want to see it, you can see it openly, and if you want to touch it, you can touch it painfully. It's not like I'm saying no. Ethan kissed the top of my hair lightly and reached out to gently squeeze my face. If I was being read through my inner activities, I pushed him in a bad mood. Okay, cut the crap and get going. Helping Ethan into the passenger seat, he looked at me sideways with some slight unease. Are you okay? I grabbed the steering wheel and took a deep breath. I can do it. Then I stepped on the gas. It was already 2:00 a.m. when I finished the 4 with Ethan, and he was sleeping soundly in the hospital bed with my hand in his. Withdrew my hand, stretched and touched his forehead, but the fever was gone. Well, my mission was accomplished then, wasn't it? To hell with the phone ringing at that moment. I hurriedly pressed off the ringer and answered it in a whisper. Hello, are you Yoon Jung's daughter? I froze, then glanced at Ethan, who was sleeping peacefully on the bed, and walked out the door. It's me. Who is this? Quickly prepare $2 million to come to Macau Sunshine Vegas to ransom your father. If you don't pay the money you owe, you'll take your life for it. The person on the other end hung up just as he finished speaking. Listened to the busy signal on the phone and shivered with fear. What should I do? I called Yu. I have something urgent. Something happened to my dad. Can you lend me some money? Yu was in a daze. How much do you want to borrow? When she heard my reply, her voice immediately rose several times. $2 million. I just bought a house. I don't have that much cash on hand. Then what should I do? I was on the verge of crying. Even though my dad is not a thing, he is at least the only family member I have in this world. Tell Ethan Olivia, he won't just sit back and do nothing, but I'll tell you what, I have $500,000 on hand. I'll wire it to you now and we'll figure out how to get it together. Olivia. Ethan seemed to have woken up and called me from the hospital room. Hurriedly hung up the phone, wiped the tears off my face, opened the door and walked in. You're awake? I've got a few things to do. I'll be going now. I walked over to the bed to get my bag when Ethan grabbed my hand and frowned at my face. You're crying. No, I'm just sleepy. There's something you're not telling me. His eyes looked like they could read my mind, which wasn't surprising really. After so many years together, he was already the most understanding person in the world. His cell phone rings at that moment, making me relieved to escape his scrutinizing gaze. It's Emma, Ethan said as he looked at the screen and then tapped on the speakerphone. Hey, what's up, Ethan? Something happened to Olivia's dad. The casino wants $2 million for her. I don't have that kind of money, so I thought of you. Did she call you? Hello, Ethan? Are you there? Ethan put the phone to his mouth and spoke slowly. I know. You're not in over your head this time. Ethan hung up the phone and looked at me. If Emma doesn't call this number, how long are you going to keep this from me? I looked down at the top of my shoes. My dad has already caused you a lot of trouble. Aren't we family? He pulled out the syringe and stood up. I was startled. What are you doing? I'm going to go with you to get Dad back. Downtown was still lit up in the early hours of the morning, and Ethan was driving while hooked up to his Bluetooth headset. Hello, hey Cheng. Is the money ready? Yeah, this is the account. Okay, Ryan, you take the guys outside Vegas. If we're not out in half an hour, you come in. Yeah, I'll be in touch. He finished the call and freed his right hand to grab mine, which was shaking with fear. Don't be afraid. In here, then realized my face was full of tears and I sobbed. I'm sorry to get you involved. I can't just leave my dad alone, but we're divorced and you're perfectly capable of staying out of it. What a stupid thing to say. I'm willing to do all these things. After saying that, Ethan then froze and looked at me sideways. You're not divorcing me because your dad gambles, are you, Ethan? Don't say anything, I understand, Ethan said, increasing the force in his hand, squeezing my hand so tightly that I inexplicably felt at ease. When I arrived outside of Vegas, I took the case full of money from Lao Zhang, and when I caught Ryan's eye on the signal, Ethan took me in with him. Never been to a place like this before, and never understood why my dad was extremely enamored with it. Upon entering, the large amounts of money, the sexy bunny girls, all of them hit the hearts and desires of the crowd. Here money is the emperor. Want to play how you want to play, all kinds of beautiful women are even competing with each other. Oh wonder so many people are attracted to indulge here, even to the point of losing their families and wives. Holding Ethan's hand, I was brought to a quiet box and the door was immediately closed. Men in sunglasses and black suits automatically stood in a line, blocking the door. I was shocked. Ethan looked down at me and whispered reassuringly, "It's okay, did you bring the money?" The owner of the casino was a Macau man with a full beard. He stood behind the railing on the second floor, looking down at us. Ethan opened the box, and the box full of banknotes immediately came into view, and my heart pumped. Where is everyone? With a gesture from the bearded man, the man in black opened the side door and I looked with him and I couldn't help but scream, "Dad!" My dad was tied to a chair, already beaten and dying. Ethan pulled me in and pushed the money to the other man. Hey, race the money, let's get the man out of here. Very good, very quick. This money is what Injong owes us. It's only right to pay what you owe. You guys must understand this. The bearded man slowly walked down the stairs of the second floor, his eyes as sharp as a falcon. When the bearded man stood in front of us, he suddenly took off his sunglasses and looked at Ethan with some surprise. You are Ethan from Fongjiang Group. Ethan looked at him expressionlessly. Yes. The bearded man suddenly let out a loud laugh, and just when everyone was puzzled, he seriously came forward and forcefully shook Ethan's hand. Boss Sway, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Charlie. Previously our company had submitted a strategic cooperation agreement to you, wanting to purchase that new batch of facial recognition lie detectors developed by your company. But it seems that we haven't heard back yet. The new batch of lie detectors are still in the testing stage. After passing the test, they will naturally be available to the public. Boss Sway is really a young talent. You also know that casinos are full of cheaters. With this instrument developed by you, it will be much easier to deal with things. Can talk about cooperation later. My wife is in shock. I think it's better to send them home early. When the bearded man heard this, he quickly ordered the people below to release my father, and then closed the case and returned it to us. Boss Sway, this money is considered a deposit. Ethan smiled lightly. One size does not fit all. It's only right to pay what you owe. The bearded man also smiled frankly and looked at me. Sorry, Mrs. Sway, if you want to come and play in the future, just give me a shout. I quickly waved my hand. No, 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 no. I just hope you casinos don't let my dad in again. The bearded man froze, then laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha. Sure, didn't expect things to finish so smoothly. And when I came out of the casino, I took my dad straight to the hospital. Ethan accompanied me to sit on a chair in the hospital's long corridor, and when everything fell into place, I realized that he was still holding my hand tightly, tried to pull it out a little uncomfortably and he tugged it tighter instead. Are you going to run away now? I bit my bottom lip lightly and looked at him sideways. Running away from what? Ethan's big hand gently caresses my cheek, his eyes gentle. Blame me for making you suffer so much alone. Why? Nose flared and I quickly shook my head. I don't blame you. Whether it's as a husband or a friend, you've done more than enough. But I want to be your husband more than anything. Ethan sidled up and took me into his arms, his palm brushing the back of my head. You have to believe in my determination to take on anything with you. Don't keep thinking that you have to carry everything on your own. We're already a family when we become husband and wife. My mouth flattened and I couldn't help the tears falling, finally letting myself loose in his arms and crying. Did I come at a bad time? Emma's slightly hesitant words came, and I hastily hid in Ethan's arms, wiping my nose with the collar of his shirt. I know and am asking. Ethan patted me on the back with an irritated look on his face. You held back a smile at the corner of his mouth as he walked towards us. Oops, I thought that Uncle Ian was hospitalized and might need my help, so I rushed over here. I sniffled. Thank you, you. What are you talking about? You sat down in the empty seat beside me, poked me with her elbow, and whispered in my ear, what's the situation, you two, shoo. I made a shushing motion and looked up at Ethan, who was resting his eyes and didn't seem to be listening to us. Emma gave a muffled "oh" and seemed a little disappointed. That moment the door to the operating room opened and the doctor came out of it with a look of relief on his face. Fortunately, my dad had some superficial injuries, but he was in shock and his whole body was a bit silent. Ethan stood in front of the hospital bed and leaned over to ask him, Dad, if there is anything you need, you call me. You and Olivia, hurry up and get remarried. Emma immediately looked at me with an expectant face, while Ethan looked at me with burning eyes. I lowered my head and tucked him in. What remarriage? You still go gambling all the time. Don't mention those two words to me. The people in the gambling town are not human beings. They serve me well when I have money, but when I owe them some money, they want to cut off my finger. When my dad said this, he was still shaking. He was really scared. On the one hand, I was a bit saddened, but in fact, I was also a bit happy. This is just to let him suffer a lot, and then he will know how to repent. Ethan saw that my dad was recovering well, so he enrolled him in a senior dance class with a lot of funky old ladies, and he started to stick to the class again. Now that Dad's out of the way, it's time for us to talk about our business. I asked him as I was drying my clothes, what can we have? Ethan came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist, his breath behind my ear, teasing me. What do you think? He tightened his long arms, confining me in his embrace. When are we going to the civil office? I stifled my laughter. The Civil Affairs Bureau is your home. How many times have you been there? This is the last time. Okay, well, let me think about it. I hung up my clothes and walked into the living room. Ethan followed me in and fell onto the sofa. If you don't agree, I'll sleep here. Couldn't help but laugh as I looked at Ethan, who was staying on the couch, and felt like I was back in the beginning of our relationship, the way you are now. You look a lot like the first time you took me home and tried to stay in my house. Ethan sat up straighter, coming to life all of a sudden. You have no idea how painful it was for me to pretend to be sick. Blame me for being so naive that I let you get away with it. Ethan pulled me into the sofa, his long arms circled me in his arms, a gangly smile on his face. How was it the first time you felt? Remember? My face burned terribly. Well, after all these years, why don't you reminisce about it now? Oops, not today. Ethan looked at me thoughtful, then hung his head in annoyance. Shit, lucky me, it's the next day, right? Well, that's a good memory. Ethan buried his face in the pillow, grunted, and pulled me into his arms. Here, let me cover your stomach. I lay back comfortably and closed my eyes, relaxing like I hadn't in a long time. That's not all I can remember. The anniversary of our relationship, the anniversary of the first time we held hands, the anniversary of the first time we kissed, and the anniversary of our first night together. Well, and the anniversary of our first night together. My face instantly burned badly. What kind of messy days are you remembering? Don't you girls care about these rituals? I probably care more about the little things in my daily life than the rituals. So when are we going to the civil office? You're really good at finding the right time. Smiled and buried my face in his chest, breathing in his familiar scent, thinking that life is nothing but a blessing.